welcome back to Resistance Chicks. We're your hosts, Leah and Michelle. Today is Monday, July 31st, 2017. I know a couple of you have said, Leah and Michelle, cut out the accents. Well, if you don't like it, then don't watch this episode. We like them and we think they're fun, and we have lots of people that do enjoy them. So, what is happening with the chicken in the UK? Is there a trade deal with the United States? Why are they upset? What is going on, Leah?
There's a possibility of US chickens being sold in Britain, and
which I don't understand to start with, but we'll get to that in a bit.
It has sparked a huge cabinet row because, as you'll see in the video, many of the chickens have to be washed in chlorine because some of their flesh rots on their butties. The disturbing prospect of chlorine-washed chickens from the US going on sale in British shops in a post-Brexit trade deal last week sparked an explosive row at the heart of the government. But beyond the politics lies the story of why American poultry needs such drastic chemical treatment. Now, before you go on railing on the United States chicken, just recognize that you have the same exact chicken practices in the UK. And they are very abhorrent, and why we recommend you grow your own, because when right now 47% of all eggs are free range
in the United Kingdom.
In the United Kingdom,
not here.
Not here. In the United Kingdom, so it means that when you're getting your eggs, you feel for the chicken, which I applaud you, and it only is a negligible price increase. Eggs are rather inexpensive. However, when you start to add that to pounds of meat, the price increases. And let me tell you, you would not recognize a free-range bird. You probably would say, what is this skinny thing with skinny legs and a smaller
Once it got
breast?
on your table, are you going to purchase it? A free-range bird has a little bit harder time keeping the weight on. Why? Because it's in better shape. It's more fit. When you have these birds behind us, which are what we refer to as the Cornish cross, they often have many disabilities where they cannot stand anymore because they are bred for large breasts and large thighs and big legs. And it is the abhorrent practices. You may not want to eat chicken after you see this. I'm going to tell you warning.
Now, I just want you to know that as I was looking up how chickens are raised in the UK, I didn't see people beating their chickens. However, the same kind of tight, cramped quarters.
I have a hard time. I can't. It's really hard for me to watch that. We raise our own chickens here. We have
now. This is a farm that creates 1.25 million, 1.25 million chickens a year. No farmer should ever need to raise 1 million chickens in order to make a living. Something is seriously wrong when you have to raise 1 million chickens in order to make a living.
I want to take it a step further. Something is seriously wrong if you guys in the UK need chicken from the United States, because we are sending our chicken to China in some instances to be processed and then brought back.
It's so weird. We have to buy local, you guys, and you have to be able to think here. There's a lot of abhorrent practices that you don't know that go on. The hens that get hatched out, right? They have brothers. What do you think happens to those brothers? Are they raised out as meat birds, which is what they should be raised out as?
No. And you want to know what? They're not put into a nice little gas chamber, right? They don't just get gassed like, oh, gas me and I go to sleep and whatever. No, that is not what happens, and we are not going to show the video. They have a no, don't show it. I can't watch it. They have a rotating colander, or not colander. And it's got a grinder in it, and they take these perfectly alive little chicks and they throw them in there. Now, a lot of you are going to be so disgusted at these ideas, at these practices, and that's what happens when you have all these vegans and vegetarians, because they're like, dude, no, I can't. You don't have to stop eating meat to eat animals that are well cared for and treated humanely.
But I do have to say, though, that we have to balance out how chickens are raised, where chickens are allowed to be raised, because in the United States, there's a lot of laws against where you can keep chickens. Some, you know, there's a lot of different subdivisions. You want to keep 4 or 5 chickens in your backyard, but you can't because it's against the law.
Right.
We have to change the laws. We have to change your mind. We have to, people have to, again, embrace where their food comes from. They need to get your hands dirty. I have no patience for people who will eat meat but say I can't kill the animal. To me, that is inhumane.
I have to tell you, no, I'm serious. And I have friends that watch this show that have said that to me. And I have to tell you, like, I respect you in every other area of life, but in this one instance, you're down at the very bottom totem pole for me. And this goes for any of our viewers that have the same thought process. You're willing to eat this store-bought meat, where these and then you come and you look at Leah and I and you say, I could never kill an animal. I couldn't do it. I don't know how you guys do that. You're okay with eating meat that is raised in the most abhorrent conditions, that is slaughtered in the most abhorrent conditions.
And
yet you look at us and say, I couldn't do that. I gotta tell you, I don't like killing the animals. I don't like killing the chickens. I think it's a man's job. But I have to tell you, I will man up and kill my own chicken before I allow myself to eat the chickens that are raised in those conditions. You are a coward.
Right. Exactly, and we have lost our humanity, and it's because farms were stolen away from people. People were self-reliant. They realized, oh, I'm going to pick my vegetable. Oh, I'm going to go get a chicken, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And so as soon as you separate that, you actually become less human.
Yes,
you actually become inhumane.
And we have obesity problems. Why is that? Because we have a disconnect from our food. When you have to have that chicken, and you help it from the time it's a chicken, you raise it, and you feed it and you water it. When you sit down and you've got a chicken that needs to feed a family of 8, every person isn't going to get massive pieces of chicken. You're going to appreciate every little bite, and you're going to use every little bit. You're going to make bone broth after you guys eat the chicken. You're going to do all of this stuff because you don't waste anything, and you don't overeat, and you don't get greedy, and you don't gorge yourself, because you put the time, and then you honor the animal. Whenever Kansas butchers a chicken, and if I have to do it, I do it myself too.
All of our homesteading friends do.
And everybody else, Go and Batty, Big Family Homestead, they all say a prayer thanking that chicken for giving their life. So the next time you guys go, I could never kill a chicken, I don't know how you guys do it. You know what? I want to say to you guys, I could never do what you're allowing yourself to do, which actually isn't exactly true, because every once in a while you're in a situation where you have to, but by and large we try not to.
I wanted to show you, this is Joel Salatin.
You guys hear us talking about him all the time.
They've grazed it, they've eaten a lot of the grass, but they've dumped their manure, and then the shelter gets moved every morning.
This is how it should be done.
Or a way.
It's one way.
The birdies. That's fresh and new, no manure, fresh grass, fresh clover, what we call a fresh salad bar, and the birds then are able to stay ahead of their, ahead of their manure, ahead of their excrement. They get their diapers cleaned every day, their linens cleaned, and they get this fresh salad bar every single day. So it's a very hygienic, sanitary way. And then, of course, the manure goes into the ground. And if you just pivot around, you can look right down here. You can count back 1, 2. Here's 3 days. Okay, 3, 4. Here's 5. The manure is already, stimulating the grass growth, and you've got new growth. In confinement animal factory operations, CAFOs, these birds, of course, number one, they'd be in a great big confinement house.
They wouldn't be outside. There's no windows.
15,000 birds, a house that's the size of a football field and a half.
Animals need to be outside.
And of course, they would have to bring.
Period. They need fresh air. If you wouldn't want to live in that smell, that stench, why would you ask your chickens to do that?
Much, just very little. And then you've got all this manure that builds up, and of course the chickens are in their own manure all the time, in their own excrement.
They're in their manure all the time. They cannot go in there and clean it until they're gone.
Fecal particulate dust their whole lives, which makes abrasions in their mucous membranes of their respiratory system. That's why the
people can't even go in there without full masks
to deal with the abscesses. and the lesions that are created in the mucous membranes from breathing in the fecal particulate dust all the time. And of course, then when you're done, eventually you have to go in and you have to clean out all that litter and the manure. So there's a mechanical in with energy, a mechanical out with energy, and of course all the time the birds are in a very unhealthy environment. So, you know, energy doesn't win, the farmer doesn't win, the birds don't win, the eater doesn't win. You know, nobody wins in that system.
And these are their egg mobiles.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to just look at this and say, you know what, this is the way it ought to be.
These are the happiest chickens.
And one of the things I think it's important to understand here is it's beautiful. You know, and good food production should be aesthetically and aromatically, sensually romantic.
I love Joel. He always knows exactly how to say it. One of the things that he didn't talk about is when he runs those chickens and they fertilize the grass, there's two elements there. The cows are going in before them, and then the cows end up coming in after them. And one of the things that the chickens also do is they scratch out the cow patties, and they spread the horse manure, or not horse, listen to me, cow manure, and so you don't have to have a manure spreader, which is also another mechanical element. We have so much land in the United States. There is absolutely no reason why they can't check the mechanical element and the massive money and infrastructure input that goes into these chicken giant buildings, and why you can't swap that for letting chickens be out on pasture.
So we have a lot of friends who run these chicken tractors, and I wanted to kind of just give you another example of the people that we hang with. These
obviously not this person.
These type of people are our friends. We have a fellowship at the farm.
He's got a tractor.
They run little tractors like this through their fields, and this is how happy chickens are raised, healthy chickens are raised, and there's a lot of land out there, and we could all feed the world if we utilized our land and our grass. I mean, the millions of acres that are mowed and fertilized alone, you could raise a few birds. Everybody in America with a lawn could raise all of their own eggs.
Absolutely.
That's by far a thing. And we've just gotten to the place where, like, the Karl Marxism has gone so far that it has dehumanized the humans,
and it's made
turned us into monsters.
And it is monsters. What is happening in the food industry is monstrous.
So I call it Karl Marxism because it's cultural Marxism is what I meant to say. Because the cultural Marxism is Marcuse and his dudes who married Sigmund Freud, which is a sexualization, you are a sexual being, everything is sexual, with this weird Marxist theology. It's a religion. In that this is not a sexual thing, but cultural Marxism, everything is a sexual thing.
Right.
And in doing that, you become dehumanized when you can't find your essence and your being and joy outside of your sensualness and filling yourself up. And what he did was, Marcuse's theology is he wanted to create everything being technological and get rid of the human element.
And here's the thing, guys, we have so many people, and I guess all of you would have the same opinion. I have it too. When you see teenagers or regular people not interacting with anybody and they're constantly on their phones. When you have a society where the majority of people are farmers, it's not going to lead to where we are. Well, I love my technological convenience. I love being able to have Google at my fingertips. I love being able to have my phone right with me. And I love being able to play my video games and be able to Google what restaurant I want to go to and have my GPS so that I can travel and do all of these things.
It's kind of like smoking. You think it calms you down, but it actually makes you nervous.
Exactly. We have people in America are less happy now that they have every modern convenience that mankind could have ever dreamed of.
Any work for their clothes or their food or their housing.
They don't have to do any scrubbing or any washing. I gotta tell you guys something. Okay?
They may have to do their own health things.
It may be hard work to go and take your laundry and hang it out on the line, okay?
But
and then bring it back in. But there is something in every hard work, every difficult job that you do. After you've done it, Leah was out there yesterday and she had a giant pile of beans, dried beans that needed to be shelled and picked. And she sat there and she did it. And I'm going to guarantee you that Leah actually probably did enjoy herself. But it's a hard job to do, but when you're done, you sit back and you're satisfied. We lost a colony of bees to wax moth this 2 days ago, and I had to burn the wax in every single frame. Our friend Justin was here to help me do that, but then the next day he wasn't, and I had to finish cleaning them, and it took me hours to scrape off all of that wax, and it was devastating, and it was hard. But when I was done, there is a satisfaction that you get from doing that you can't get from going and seeing a movie, that you can't get from going and seeing your favorite artist in concert, that you can't get from watching a live football game, okay? And we have a society that seeks all of those things instead of that satisfaction that far exceeds any of that from real
Cultural
hard work.
Marxism wants everything to be technological, and not have to work. But what's interesting is that the progressives and the liberals are rebelling against it, but they don't even know it.
Right.
They are they're most of the people at the Mother Earth News conferences.
Right.
They're actually trying to get back to nature and disowning the craziness. They've latched on to the progressive healthcare things, but then at the same time they are also taking their health into their own hands. So they are so opposites in their own daily lives. It's so funny to see them coming out and recognizing that maybe the government isn't so fantastic, and maybe the government can't provide all of the things that we need, and maybe
we should be doing it ourselves.
Maybe we should be doing it ourselves, which is what we have said all the time. But we can just decry crony capitalism. Crony capitalism is what gives you the chickens in the box. But it's not just crony capitalism. Cultural Marxism and crony capitalism are one.
Yep. They're not even cousins. They're like a married couple. One last thing that I want to add. Our friend Stacy from Rose of Sharon Pastured Meats that you see comment a lot. She has a CSA. She goes to farmers markets, all right? And she does this in Wisconsin. If you absolutely cannot raise your own meat, raise your own, or grow your own vegetables or whatever, you have to, at the very least, take yourself off of your couch, out of your car, and drive to your local farmer's market, seek out a CSA. You have to be buying locally. Stop with all of the grocery store stuff.
Buy a half a hog, buy a quarter of a cow.
If that's the extra effort that it takes to buy a deep freezer so that you can store that meat that is properly raised, and you can support the local farmers that are doing what you are unable to do.
Isn't the farmer's market cheaper than
the farmer's market?
Organic
Is
at the
always
store?
cheaper for us.
And you get to have a relationship with the farmer. You can ask them questions. What did you spray? How are you raising this? Is it cheaper because it's or because it's not organic? And you know what? You can make that decision.
I'm going to go show them the onions.
And they're passionate people.
And they are passionate people, and you're rewarding the quality hard work of, and I'm not just saying America, because you guys in the UK and Poland, I mean, you probably already do this
and they love
more
what
than
they
even
do.
we do. But everybody needs to be supporting their local farmers. We get raw milk from the Amish, but they
we have
also
such a hard time growing onions.
If you've ever tried to grow onions, if you actually can do this organically, you need to email me, all right? Because I'm going to get a lesson from our Amish farmers to figure out how the heck you can grow an onion like this organically, because our onions are always half the size.
For 10 years.
We cannot get onions to grow. Now, one tip that we did learn is that the Amish grow this from seed, and they don't buy the little onion sets. So we stopped doing that. We started growing our onions from seed, but we still can't quite manage to get this. So here's the thing. At Resistance Chicks,
my garlic's big.
We're always touting this sort of thing, but this is the answer.
Never give up.
This is, I want to say, at the very least, this in the Federal Reserve. The answer, it's at least 50% of the answer of the problems
and
all over the world, but specifically here in the United States.
They ask us for answers, and I have answers for you. I know how to
But they don't want the answers.
On the deep state. We can literally just opt out of the system. If you start homeschooling your kids, and you stop using the grocery store, you start just bartering with your neighbors, I mean, you can... You can go to a farmer's market and get deals. Like towards the end of the day.
Christians don't get enough credit for it. Christians pretty much destroyed Rome because they quit using their money.
monetary system.
Christians wouldn't use the money with Caesar's face on it.
And now we have the complete opposite. We have the non-Christians that are going, wait a minute, why are we doing this? We have the Christians just eating like from the teat of the government and, oh, I just want all of my stuff, give it to me. I want to just buy. I don't want to actually do anything. I want to actually go to work and sit at a desk all day long, and then, because that actually doesn't require as much physical effort as it does, and thought to plant a garden and to feel the loss or the failure or something like that. So I don't know how we got there, but when Horatio had shared this, he was like, little do they know, I want to get back to the article, that chlorine has been in the water for years. And that is another issue as well. These hypocrites are going, I don't want my chicken washed in chlorine. You know what? You shouldn't want your chicken washed in chlorine, but if you're washing your chicken with regular water, your chicken is getting a chlorine wash because the water has chlorine in it, even in the United Kingdom. I actually kind of had hoped that they didn't. I don't think they have fluoride in the water. I could be wrong about that, but we do here in the United States. The answer to that is to buy a big Berkey or the Alexa Pure or whatever water filter that can get all that stuff out, which is what we do. That's not a plug, even though we could do the Amazon thing, right?
You can have your own well.
Or you can get well water is, because then you get minerals and everything like that.
And a lot of people are plugging back their cisterns.
Right. Do you have anything else you want to add, Leah?
Well, this is a little idea of what commercial boilers used to be in 1957 versus 1978 versus 2005. So I can see, you know, you went from smaller chickens,
to
as my
giant.
grandma would say, our chickens were never this big.
Sometimes, a lot of times, you had to cook two
Teenage
chickens.
Ninja Turtle.
Oh my gosh, I should show you, but I'm not going to right now. Julia Child has a different kinds of chicken. There's like 6 kinds of chicken. And sometimes you get the roosters, and they're like 2 years old, and they're the monster ones, and you have to stew them. There are
stew. She said stew.
Because the older the birds, the tougher the meat, so you have to stew them.
The fact that they're getting rid of the roosters and putting them in the grinder because they're not good for laying doesn't make any sense. And that's what you have when you have an industrialized, capitalized, governmental idiocracy.
They all want white meat, they don't want the dog meat.
You take the little hens and you make them into, so you should have multi-production on the same farm. You should have the eggs, and then you should have the meat birds. So you have the hens that lay the eggs, and then all the roosters, instead of getting thrown in that grinder alive, they get put out on Joel's, and because they get bigger because they're roosters. Oh, but I don't want all that crowing. I'm sorry, I don't have words for people. All right, this is Leah Michelle signing off for Resistance Chicks, where it is not just a conspiracy theory if it's the truth. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mass Faith 3 and Resistance Chicks. Ring that bell for notifications. Find us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We love you. God loves you. God bless. There is one more thing that I want to add. We had a conversation with somebody the other day that was saying that they didn't want the people around them to lower their property value with just different things. All right, I'm going to assume that that may have something to do with, let's say somebody wanted to do chicken tractors in their front yard, and you got this people, I worked hard for my property, and I don't want them. Listen, your property value rises and falls on your merits. You cannot tell somebody else that has property next to you that they have to keep their property up so that your property value gets to stay high. This is the most absurd, bogus thing. You can't control somebody else so that you have higher property values.
Wait.
You don't ever tell anybody that they have to do something so that you can get more money out of your property. It's your property. That's your plot of land. What happens to it, what happens on it is up to you and you only.
Well, wait. Well, everybody has choice. Everybody has the right to life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and somebody finds out that their food is being poisoned. Don't blame them because they have a chicken tractor. They just don't want to eat poisoned food.
Exactly.
And if you get set free and were intelligent, you wouldn't want to eat poison food too. And it's so easy to have chickens. Chickens are like easier than having a dog.
Yes.
I mean, they pretty much, you could leave them for a week and take care of themselves as long as you have food and water out there. I mean, they have their own feeders and everything like that. Of course, you have to lock them in at night because you got coyotes and raccoons and stuff that.
Well, Joel's chicken tractors, they don't have a lock on them. They just, that's, you know.
Yeah, but We have a neighbor whose wife died at a very young age. I would say
in
less
her
than
60s.
Yeah, and very young, and she was still working and everything from cancer because she ate all her poison food.
Yep.
But her yard's poisoned too because they had put chemicals down. So you put all this poison and you wonder why your wife died of cancer, and yet he's so concerned about
his property value. And I have to tell you, your right to your property value being contingent upon your neighbors does not trump my right to eat good food that is not going to cause me cancer and to raise it on my own land.
Well, at one time, suicide was against the law. And so we have the right to make him stop poisoning himself because it's suicide to go out to eat every day. That's what they did. They went out to eat every day. They had the best of everything.
I was cold all alone. No place for home every day. So afraid. But you call